Hey everyone, hope they're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into these topic sectors, looking for potential investment opportunities. Uh, sh- Basically sharing all of those opportunities with everyone in the community, why I think they look good, the chart setups, the fundamentals, the presentations, the quarterly earnings conference calls I listen to, etc., etc. We still have, for a very short while longer, the special coupon code. It's 50% off the first month on the monthly membership, and it's a larger discount on the yearly membership if you'd like to sign up or transfer from a monthly to a yearly. All right, let's dive in. Let's take a look, see what's going on. The dollar is declining today, down about 0.6%. Now, is this the beginning of a trend? Well, I wouldn't say that so quickly. We are above a lot of support through here. We've broken out from that base to the upside. So, longer term, I would say that the dollar still looks good, but one could say that we are squeezing a little bit in the dollar. And what I'm talking about is this type of squeezing that I'm seeing a little bit in the chart here. And we very well could dive lower for a period of time. And we'll see if this actually breaks to the downside. We did see some strong selling pressure today. We'll see if we pop to the downside here for this dollar in a rising, could be potentially a rising wedge. Generally, yields are what drive that. The 2-year yield is down 0.4%, but I'll be honest, guys, it still looks strong to me. We've got a nice, good bullish engulfing yesterday. I'd like to see what kind of follow through we get in either direction here in the short term. Now, again, I'm not a short term trader. I buy and I hold, and what I think is occurring is we broke out of this longer term downtrend line on the 2-year. We very well could come back and do a return move somewhere in those big circles over there. That's the question mark. That would be your potential slowdown in the system, something on the lines of that, false flag event, whatever it is. But I think that the overall trend is up, higher highs and higher lows. So if this does come back, we are going to turn and go on up. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case. I see a lot of people on YouTube. I see a lot of people on Twitter, and they are so confident that we are going to crash, that we are going to come back down, and we are going to eat it. Um, I'm in the camp where it's like, I don't think they know with certainty that that will be the case. And then they go on and they talk a lot more narrative. Uh, and I'll tell you why I don't think that's 100% in the bag. But the 2-year, yeah, it was down today. 10-year was up, and we've broken out of this pattern here to the upside. So the long end of the curve, it's still boogieing higher. And I think that we are going to see rates continue up over time. So what should we focus on? Is it the 2-year? Is it the 10-year? Well, I focus on the 10-year. The 10-year has a bigger impact on a lot more things. And then the 30-year is doing what the 10-year is doing, breaking higher on the long end of the curve. So that's broken out of this kind of pattern upwards. And it's still looking pretty good with these candlesticks in here. It's not a reversal candlestick or anything. We have one here, and then we have a bullish engulfing here. So it's back and forth action. And I don't know if they're in there trying to hold this down to some degree, they being the Federal Reserve. That's tough to say because we get these smackdowns, but it's not having a holding effect yet. TYX TNX ratio, we are flat and sideways. It's not really that helpful for precious metals. So we're still bouncing sideways, not a huge tailwind. It's not a headwind either, though. We've already bottomed and we're just moving sideways. TLT bond prices moving lower because on the long end of the curve, yields were going up. But here we are coming on down. We could see further downside there. So momentum is lower for bond prices and higher for yields. And why is this a big deal? Because these have an impact on how the pricing of all the assets in the system. That's why I look at this. Higher yields are it's gonna weigh on the S&P 500, but if they just dump money into the system, it could still go up. Yeah, it could because you've got so much money and liquidity in the system. The 2 and the 10 continues to uninvert, which is generally a bad thing because you got the 2-year going down and the 10-year going up, and it leads to the uninversion of the yield curve or the normalization of the yield curve. Now, most people will look at this and say, yeah, we're going to get a recession. When this falls, that's generally when we have recessions. That's when disinflation and or deflation potentially occurs. Now, this here isn't the driver of disinflation or deflation. It's the cycling back and forth, and yields just follow the cycle. So if they're pumping money into the system, that's where it gets real funky because this may or may not have an impact. And I know they're doctoring the numbers too. The inflation numbers, the GDP numbers, makes this not as clear as an indicator as it did in the past. Gold down about $9, and we're still in this big pattern. The 3-hump consolidation deal going on. I don't know if the third hump's done yet. Silver up 1.3, and again, this still looks good, in my opinion, to go higher. We've broken out of this pattern here, and we've been flagging in basically all the way up, so it still looks good. Platinum down a teeny bit, and that is a little bloody nose today, and it still looks good to work its way on up. Palladium down 5.5, right on support. Still looks good. We've broken out of this falling wedge. Here's 3-humper. We could easily work our way on up in palladium. GDX down 1.2, so we're getting a little small days next to the big green boy. Still looks fine. Maybe we fill this gap on small red candles down at 34. GDXJ, small down day, and SILJ, small down day. Still looks good to go higher, in my opinion. Think of these as flag formations, pennant formations, whatever it is. But big green candlesticks, small red candlesticks, those are generally a bullish setup. XEU to gold ratio, we are down today against gold, and we are right on support. We are at incredibly low levels here. Incredibly low levels. Ratio is screaming, hey, look, this is something, this is real cheap. Doesn't mean cheap goes fast. Doesn't mean it has to go higher immediately. Just says it's cheap. Crude oil. Crude oil had a real strong beginning. Good strong day. We slapped our face right on resistance there. And then we came back off of that resistance. There's the slapping of the face. And we had a nice little kind of shoulder head shoulder deal going on. And then we came on back, and now we've got another flag pattern. It looks good to try to work its way on up. So oil doesn't look bad. I like the end of day, how we kind of finished. That is a flag pattern, and we very well could break higher. Tough to say though, because in the short term, these things can be pretty volatile. But we're trying to break through the bigger, longer term resistance line that's up here, and that's what we're hitting our head on here. So it's this resistance coming through here that we just hit our head on. So if you want to know when we break it, this is what you'll know. You'll hit your head on this. You'll get a little bloody nose like we've got on the weekly. Whether it takes a day or 2 or 3, whatever it is. If we do break out, look for a big green candlestick. Maybe not that big, but a bigger green candlestick on the weekly or daily or something. That's you'll know when you break out. And then another real another resistance level through here. It looks like this is a pretty strong one through here. $83, $83.50 or so. If we get above $83.50, that's going to be pretty good. There's some strong resistance there. TTF gas down about 5% today. And this is more towards the upper end of the channel. Throw this upper end on there. So the upper end is somewhere in this range here. There's the lower end, and we're getting a little bit of resistance through here. Natural gas in America up 10% today. Big move. Now, what am I doing with this? I'm not doing anything, guys. Not doing anything. What I did is I purchased, I think it was down here, shares in some of the companies, the equities. Now I'm just riding up, and we've got resistance right above us, which is that blue channel line going across. We got to break through the channel line. Be patient. Don't get impatient. Now this where I purchased here in some of the companies, I think I purchased here too in my Roth. And you guys know that on the website. You guys see what I purchased. There's basically a log of what I purchased, and I also show the setups in my Roth IRA. I'm really diving into that. But yeah, this is just it's gonna eventually break and work its way on up. So just patience, all it takes. It's a really boring game, guys. Boy, XOP, yeah, you know me. We had a real good start, Now we got a little bit more of selling pressure. Maybe we do a retest here and come back and do a retest before heading higher. Very possible. Hex is a replay. Okay, going to OIH, and I don't know what that replay button is. First time seeing it. Whoa, OIH, nice little move there, all the way up back to, this is a double bottom. Very nice. OIH, love it. So OIH working its way on up. We had some buying pressure earlier in the day. We got some selling pressure throughout the day in OIH and XOP. We might have a little bit of momentum to the downside. It's not too bad, not too bad. So we covered this gap here. It looks good, and we fell on real small selling pressure. So I do think we're going to head higher. Still looks good. Newcastle Coal Futures down about 3%. We're down here, if you can see that candle there. And we're still pulling back in Newcastle Coal Futures in the short term. Profitability Uranium Trust getting some selling pressure, about 3.8, 3.9%. Nice big move of these candlesticks here to the upside. So we're still in this pattern. You know, what would I do? Nothing. I would do absolutely nothing. This is a big bearish or a big bullish setup. It's a big flag pattern there. So what do? Just don't do anything. Just let it go. Let it make you money. And yeah, we got resistance through here, a little bit of resistance through there. Uranium futures pricing, we're back within the pattern here. Nice big move going on the weekly there. It looks like this could be a slingshot that slingshots us up. Let's hope that's the case. URA up 1.5%, looking all right. It's doing okay. Not a pretty looking chart, but doing all right. Uranium up a little bit today. Two small little candlesticks there. Momentum still to the upside. URNJ doing the same thing. Got a little bit of resistance coming across here that I drew eons ago. Hopefully we can try to break through it. Copper up 1.8, so we're right at that resistance area, and we're coming on up today. We did have a weaker dollar, which is going to help these weaker dollar, this whole section coming up, because these are all very sensitive to the weaker, to a weaker dollar. COPX was up 1.5%, still above all support. Iron ore up 0.3%, a little bit of selling pressure the past week or so. And here we are right on this longer term kind of support-ish area. And no, it's not drawn in perfectly, guys. It's down there. Aluminum down, but we are within the channel still. Nickel down a little bit. Looks like we were getting a little bit of selling pressure through here on nickel. And maybe we do head a little bit lower. Possibly. Move up 0.6%, still holding on. Within the pattern of this longer term pattern there. We do have some downside momentum in the short term. Emerging markets holding on, weaker dollar. And it's just been trading sideways here. Carry up 0.2% right on support, still there. TAN up 1.14, likes the weaker dollar. We'll see if that continues or not. Lithium up 0.8%. We are still underneath this resistance line. We tried breaking through. We squeezed up and kind of came back down. I still think we're going higher though. Irrespective of kind of what some of these charts look like, when you get this big buying pressure and then you get smaller selling pressure, those generally resolve upward. Irrespective if you get a little bit of a downward move, even after a consolidation. REMX up 3%, looking like it's trying to turn higher. Looks pretty strong. This past 3 days. Baltic Dry Index up 4%. That looks like it's bottoming and working its way on up. So I think we could see a move higher in the Baltic Dry Index. This would be a good spot to be looking for potential investments. XHB down 0.09%, and we're still chopping sideways here. There is a bearish tinge to this because we've broken the upward rising wedge to the downside, which means this could easily keep that momentum going lower. And we're just going through support through here. Russell 2000 doing something very similar to XHB, just kind of chopping sideways, and we entered from the top side down. Potentially could head down there. There's some bullishness here too. I mean, we do have a bullish piercing here and a small selling pressure candlestick. So the buyers and sellers are dueling it out here. The S&P 500 up 0.55%. This is after like many rising wedges. We'll see what this looks like. NASDAQ up a little bit, but again, this could be a top. Calling tops is tough, guys, and I don't do it. But if I were to look at a top, you look for rising wedges, and then you look for big selling pressure candlesticks. Then the red guys or the green guys are going to start to get smaller and smaller, where the sellers just outweigh them. SMCI still ripping off this break to the upside, so that's still looking pretty solid. Now, I don't invest in this. It's not a value play, so no reason for me to be here. NVIDIA up 3.43%. It's broken out of that downtrend resistance line. We've got Bitcoin up 3.7, looking pretty strong. I know the Bitcoin people are pretty happy about that, I'm sure. And then Ethereum up 1%, still above this big pattern. So that still looks good and bullish at the moment. MicroStrategy up 11.6, as this is just a leverage play to Bitcoin. So that's been going higher here the past 2 days as Bitcoin's gone up. And then the VIX down a little bit, still in control and not out of control, but we are still above big pattern here that was created. It broke out the yen carry trade deal, and we're still sitting on top of it. But we'll see if that has any sort of legs in it or not. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. That's all I've got for today. We will have, obviously, the midweek update will come out late tomorrow, early Wednesday. And then I think we've got a Sunday question and answer session coming up on the weekend. But that's all I've got, guys. So we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.